He was supposed to be reincarnated as the strongest, but his sister got all his power. Asahi is a teenage boy who tried to save a little girl from a traffic accident. He explains it as something that made his body move on its own. But unfortunately, he got hit and collapsed under the car. Despite his luck, he was still happy that at least the girl is safe, but thinks about what will happen when the closest people related to him will think when they find out, especially his older sister. Suddenly, he sees a bright orb radiating and pulling him inside, transferring him into a strange place. There he sees some slimes, a castle, and a dragon, and he guesses that he was given a second chance in another world. He immediately starts exploring the nearby city, comparing it to several games he played, and after bumping into someone, he realizes that everyone here speaks his language. Despite the setting looking European, he notices there's a guild, skill shop, and everything he experienced in his favorite games. So, his only excited guess is that he was reincarnated in a game world. But he's still pretty dumb. He takes a selfie with his phone, and thinks about how he's going to contact people. Furthermore, he doesn't have money, or any contact, and doesn't know how to behave like a normal person in a different world. He was so enamored with this new world that he even turned off his phone and sold it for a high price because someone thought it was a rare artifact. And with that money, he is able to buy weapons and armor. Being a total gamer, he prioritized the agility stat, and wear leather armor with a sword as his weapon. As he walked into the guild, he nervously asked the receptionist for a quest. Realizing that it's his first time, she decides to explain everything to him and helps him register as an adventurer. For his first quest, she recommends him to hunt killer rabbits. They're E-rank monsters, and pretty much easy to kill. He gets all hyped up. It's his first quest. But to his shock, he encountered a huge high-level wyvern. He thinks it to be easy, but the monster starts chasing him while spitting fireballs, making his fight for survival a living hell. He dodges everything by luck and hides. He needs a strategy, and also needs to know his skills and stats, but ends up finding out that he barely has any stats. He's just a common villager. He had believed that he would start off with high stats once he was reincarnated, but he was wrong. To make it worse, his only skill is a level 1 stone throw. Without much option, he decides to rely his life on that same skill. He gets a pebble, prepares all his strength, and launches it into the air. Believe it or not, it only traveled 2 meters. I think the wrong guy got reincarnated. The wyvern grows impatient and decides to finish his prey off. Fearing for his life, Asahi called out his sister's name, and to his amazement, she appeared before him. She smiles as she looks at him, feeling that he called out for her. But the wyvern doesn't wait. He attacks her with several fireballs, creating a huge explosion. She dodged by jumping and noticed power overflowing within her. Her body felt light. With one blow and the will to protect her little brother, she destroyed the dragon, leaving him in awe. But she simply claims it's child's play. He had believed that his sister was just an illusion, but she suddenly jumps on top of him, claiming she missed him. She was real, and worse, she has a younger brother complex. Seriously, another one. Curious, Asahi asks how did she end up there in this world. She revealed a shocking truth. He hadn't died in his previous world but was merely in coma. But she heard him smiling and talking about being reincarnated in a new world. So she assumed that his spirit had traveled to that new world, and her love for him had driven her to smash her head into the wall until she died and follow him to another world. Asahi asked his sister how she was so strong, and she revealed that her constant worry for him gave her the strength to endure. Asahi believed that his sister knew the way back to their previous world but was shocked to learn that she did not. However, he accepted this truth and they decided to live as siblings in this new world, where his sister is the one who's overpowered and he is the background character. A few weeks have passed since they joined hands in this world, and they have a mission to kill 3 orcs that are completely destroying a village, leaving the villagers in panic. The monsters easily manage to subdue the guards defending it, and celebrate their new conquer. In the midst of chaos, there's a little girl trying to hide in between the buildings crying for her life. Suddenly, we see Asahi walking toward these monsters. The monsters are impressed by his courage and ask who he is, and he introduces himself as an adventurer. The monsters mock him, but he's determined to prove his strength and take these evil monsters down. The trolls thought of themselves as invincible and taunted Asahi for being outnumbered. The monster charged at him, and Asahi's only reaction was to brace himself. A piercing rock raises from the floor and stabs the orc's gut, redeeming it lifeless. The orc gets projected into the air, and Maya uses it as a jumping stone, immediately casting lightning magic and destroying the second orc. The last orc survivor is sitting on the ground, scared for his life as Maya stares at him. She raises her hand and despite the orc begging for forgiveness, she obliterates him. Asahi states how merciless she is, but she couldn't forgive the monsters. Deep down, Asahi thinks she cares about the dead villagers, but in reality, she's only bad because they insulted her younger brother. As Maya tended to Asahi's scratch, she couldn't help but worry about his well-being. She knew all too well the pain of injuries and didn't want her brother to suffer the same fate. Maya brought out a potent elixir meant for the last boss to heal his scratch, but Asahi was insistent that it would heal with a bit of spit. Looking at her face, he realizes about his mistake. The villagers gathered around, curious to hear about the hero who saved their village. Suddenly, the little girl exclaimed that it was Asahi who had saved the day, and everyone starts praising him as the mighty hero. After returning to the guild, Tanya the receptionist prepared a celebration for Asahi as he managed to climb up several ranks really fast. Even though it was Maya killing all the monsters, he always got the credit. She gives him a badge, mentioning he can't sell or give it to someone else because it counts as official identification. Plus, he shouldn't ever falsify his range, otherwise, he will lose his head. Without any other option to save his life, he begs his sister to hide her strength to make it seem like he's strong and asks her to show her stats. She misunderstands and takes her brother Complex to a new level, revealing her 3 measurements. He teaches her about the status windows but finds it strange. She doesn't have any shape indicating her stats. He thinks it to be an error, but he realizes what's wrong. Her level and ability stats are so high that they get out of the status windows screen. He orders her to never show her status screen to anyone, while also feeling his pride completely destroyed as a gamer who started out with no stats. Suddenly, they hear a commotion nearby. They decide to check it and see the most famous adventurers party, Clan Bomb, a party so strong that the kingdom prepared a parade before they set out to defeat the Demon Lord. Asahi gets hyped out when he finds out about the Demon Lord. His sister doesn't understand it though, so he quickly explains it to be the final boss, and usually the guy that allows them to go back to their world. She gets hyped out, but the store clerk who bought Asahi's phone mentions the party leader's rank. He's 2 ranks above Asahi and the strongest adventurer out there. But there are some people who don't like him, like that old dude who's jealous. The guy starts making a scene, destroying an outdoor bar. In short, the old dude used to have the same rank as Asahi, but got demoted. But the store clerk has no worries. Asahi is there, he's strong. Everyone starts pressuring Asahi into taking action, but he's almost wetting his pants. The pressure starts to build up, with everyone shouting his name. And the old guy has the brilliant idea to insult Asahi, just like the orc. His sister clearly doesn't like it and wants to turn